The holidays are back at Starbucks, and there's so much to share. With classics like Caramel Brulee Latte, Peppermint Mocha, and Chestnut Praline Latte, we're celebrating everyone's flavor of festivity. Order yours in the app.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
For every veteran, there is a story about a calling to serve, to fight for the freedoms of the American people. And every story has a struggle, a sacrifice, and invisible wounds. Warrior Watts programs help veterans recover from PTSD and invisible wounds through exercise, nutrition, and connecting with other veteran leaders. It is estimated that 22 veterans die each day by suicide, and another 30 veterans die each day by substance abuse. These are preventable deaths. Warrior Watt is committed to fighting PTSD through fitness, nutrition, and community.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation. The MisFitNation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFitNation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches. We love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFitNation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFitNation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, Stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFitNation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome to our Tuesday after dinner show. We have an awesome guest tonight. She's coming to us from Denver, a beautiful mountain state there with snow probably still on the mountains while we're having thunderstorms here in Tennessee. She is a multi-passionate entrepreneur, author, soon-to-be podcast, as well as a busy mother of 2 young sons and a proud wife. She's all about dishing out the real talk on life's curveballs, from trauma to pain. She's been there, done that, and still slays. As a trailblazer in a male-dominated, construction industry. Her story resonates with those facing challenges in various fields, and she can speak extensively to the grit it requires to create a successful startup company. She knows that sharing our triumphs over life's triumphs can extend a lifeline to others enduring similar struggles, reminding them that they're not alone and that resilience can lead to a brighter future. So, without further ado, let's welcome Chelsea Husum to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's awesome that we can connect. The world gets a lot closer when we have the internet now, and we can reach out and meet awesome people from across time zones, in the mountains, on the land here. So, Chelsea,
Yep.
if you don't mind, I just gave basically a 2 sentence brief of you there. Tell us a little more about Chelsea, from as far back as you want to go to how we got here now.
Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in South Dakota. Like you said, live in Denver now. I currently own and operate a construction company in Denver, but I was not playing with Barbies when I was little, thinking that number one, I would be an entrepreneur, and number two, that I would work in construction or own a company. So I actually I have a Spanish degree and a broadcast journalism degree, and I thought I was going to be the next Barbara Walters, until I learned that they make like 20 grand a year and work nights and weekends, and the likelihood of making it is pretty much nothing. So I was like, well, that's unfortunate. So after college, the bills started coming. So I'm like, man, I need a job. And I went into trade shows, experiential marketing, worked there for about 5 or 6 years, and then just really didn't feel that I was doing anything worthwhile with my life. And then I did some soul searching, ended up quitting, got my master's in education, and I became a high school Spanish teacher for 10 years. Did that till one day a kid called me an effing waste of space. And I was like, tell me how you really feel, buddy. And I was just like, I don't like this anymore. I need to get out. And so then I was like, I have zero idea what I'm going to do. I was desperate to get out of teaching at that point. And at that time, the only job that anyone would even call me for was an office manager for a construction company. So I took that, got into construction, had like no training. It was rough. It was pretty rough. Learned a lot, trial by fire, the hard way. And then I ended up starting my own company in March of 2020, because what else is anyone doing at that point, right? And so I worked both jobs till April of 22, really. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. So now I run the show, and I love it. As my 7-year-old son says, Mom, you're the boss. Like, yeah, I guess I am. That could be a good or bad thing.
Yes, and remember that.
Yeah. I wish he would listen to that, but he really doesn't.
Good luck with that. Boys are fun, I guess.
Yeah, they are.
I had a daughter. She was expensive. Sons are dangerous, I guess, because they get hurt, or on purpose they get hurt.
Yeah, and they just don't stop like fighting and running around.
In the green room, you were talking a little bit about your family's service. If you don't mind, share with the audience your family's lineage of service to the country.
Yeah, and I know you've served. Thank you. And I know a lot of your listeners have. And honestly, like, we are so grateful. We're such a big military family. My one grandfather was in the Air Force. Another grandfather was in the Air Force, and he was actually gunned down. And he was a prisoner of war with the Nazis for a year. And he ended up getting a Purple Heart. I've seen the telegrams where the government sent to his mom, like, he's been gunned down. We don't know if he's dead or alive. We'll let you know. And then another telegram saying, we found, he's alive, but he's a prisoner of war. Like, really interesting. But he got out and earned a Purple Heart for that. And then one of my cousins just retired after like 30 years in the Army as command sergeant major. I mean, multiple people in our family serve in the military and police, and we're such big supporters and so proud, and always so grateful.
That's awesome. I wish we could have, or you could have at least recorded your grandfather if he's not with us anymore. But before he passed, or while he was still able to speak about stuff. And that's great stories to keep forever, to know the
It
things that he
is.
saw before and enduring, of course, and then of course meeting the love of his life and his family. So it's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yes.
And like you said, our audience is either they serve the military, first responders, or proud supporters of both, and
Yep.
all walks of life there. So, and three guys from Nepal, thanks guys. If you're climbing the mountains today, thanks for listening.
Yes.
So
Thank
they're
you.
out there. So tell us a little bit about learning curve going from office manager to the boss of a construction
Mm-hmm.
company.
Yeah. I mean, I got to learn a lot of things not to do from the other company kind of, and I'm a really organized person, like kind of to psycho mode. Like sometimes I need to chill out a little bit, but so that helps me that I'm really organized. But so I learned a lot what not to do. But man, there were a lot of times crying in my office, like what the hell am I doing? Like I don't even, a lot of Googling, a lot of asking other people, and luckily I've met quite a few women actually who own construction companies that do multi-million dollars, multi-millions a year. So I've been able to call them and say, hey, this happened. What would you do in this situation? Really relying on them because they've been there, done that. They know way more than I do. And they can quickly be like, yeah, no, don't worry about that, or do this, So it was a huge learning curve. I mean, commercial insurance is like the worst thing ever. Certified payroll is like the worst thing ever. It's like a whole new level of just horrible stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of learning, but honestly now I feel like I learned the hard way, but I know it in and out. You know what I mean? I can talk about it because I've been there, done that. So it was hard at first, but I'm grateful I had to go through it all.
I think it's great to hear that other women in the industry were welcoming you as a mentee, basically.
Yeah.
You show you the ways instead of saying she's competition. We're not going to give her all the secrets. We're not going to push her in
Exactly.
the right direction. It actually helps us. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've luckily found the right women for sure.
And you also are an author. So
Yep.
saw that from COVID as well, or was that after COVID or pre-COVID?
Actually that my book just came out on Amazon last week. So that is new, real new. My book is called Real Vibes Only: Unapologetic Confessions of a Hot Mess Mompreneur. So it's a bunch of juicy, crazy stories of stuff I've been through, and really just, some of them are pretty traumatic stories. Some are kind of in the middle, some are lighter, but really it's just the goal with the book is to, especially for women, sometimes we feel like we have to be this perfect person handling all these things, and like people will judge us if we take care of ourselves, and this really goes for anybody, but just own your story. Stop feeling guilt or shame. Put it out there, because I guarantee someone is feeling the same way. And honestly, I've gotten so many messages like, oh my God, thank you for just being real. I've been literally feeling this for so long, and I feel like I'm the only one. So it's just, I hope that I can inspire other people that when you're going through hard times, which we all do, right? At the time, it feels like it could break you, but you need to take care of yourself. You need to look at, how are you taking care of yourself mentally, physically, right? And you will get through, and you'll be stronger on the other side, and then you can go out and however you're going to show up now in the world. You don't have to write a book about what you've been through, but maybe you can talk to somebody, or maybe you can inspire somebody that is going through it currently, to hopefully just to keep going and have hope.
Definitely. And there's songs out there, if you go through hell, keep on going. Just
Exactly.
keep on going. As long as you keep pushing forward, you're doing the right things. Learn lessons, of course. Learn lessons from that hellacious journey. Take little notes, but don't let it drag you. Don't, like you said,
No.
too many people try to make that perfect square, that perfect circle, and it has to be that way every day. I have to be perfect every day, or people will say something about it. But the person that's saying something about you usually has four fingers back at them. Just
Oh,
remember that.
totally.
She wants coming right back at them because they're ashamed of something as well. So just keep pushing forward, and you'll be better in the end, and people will see your resilience as you move forward.
And you need to find, if you're seeing a lot of people coming at you and judging you, you're not around your right people. You know what I mean? We'll always have that. There's always going to be people, especially when you're out, you're hustling, you're doing big things. There's always going to be people. The more you achieve, there will be more people that just probably want you to fail and fall flat on your face. There will be. That's how it goes, right? New levels, new devils. They say that, right? But it's just, but if you can surround yourself with those like-minded people and positive people, right? And people that are just wanting to be better versions of themselves, that's who will inspire you, and you can all move forward together.
Definitely. I wrote down the new levels, new devils. That's the first time I heard that. So it's now in my notebook. I'll be stealing it. Thank you. Yes.
I didn't make it up, but it's a good one.
And you talked about some of the going through traumatic events and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and stories in your book. Would you mind sharing bits and pieces of it so you don't give away the whole book so people?
Sure. I'll share two, and really I'm going to share these two because they are pretty traumatic, but also it's just completely different how I dealt with them. So one was about 20 years ago. So when I got my Spanish degree, I studied in South America and Ecuador quite a few months. And at this point I was there alone because I had been there the year before. I went back alone for 3 months. And I had been studying Spanish and, traveling and stuff down there. And one night I ended up being drugged and raped by my Spanish professor there. And I woke up in an abandoned house by myself on a mattress on the floor. And like, saw like flashbacks of the night before. I was so sick. I was so ill, but like things started being like coming back to my memory. And so I couldn't get out of the house. I kept getting electrocuted, trying to get out for like a half hour. I finally get out and I had to go. It was like the next day and it was a school day and I really had nowhere else to go. So I literally just took a taxi to school and I had to stare at his face. Like it was horrible. And honestly, I didn't tell anyone for 20 years, not a soul. I didn't I was in my 20s. I think it was just so traumatic that I was just like, oh my God, shove that down, lock it, throw away the key. Like it didn't happen, never to see the light of day. Right. And so that was the biggest way of like not dealing with it and just pretending like it never happened. And then, so recently then 20 years later, actually I ended up being sued for millions of dollars by just not a good person. And really kind of the trauma of that, of feeling powerless and feeling constantly attacked and living in fear. And this lawsuit was like the most soul-sucking, horrible thing I've literally ever dealt with, even worse than being physically raped, because that was one time. This was 2.5 years of like absolute hell, like having my kids be like, Mommy, when are we losing our house? Mom, here's $12. You need it more than I do. Seeing me just like, I would wake up in hives, like covered in hives. I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live. Like I remember waking up in the middle of the night, like every night being like, oh my God, this is real. It's not a dream. Like I thought this was a nightmare. And so honestly, that it just, to run a business and be a mom and be a wife and a friend and do life while dealing with that was really difficult. Like I lost it a lot. It was really difficult. And finally I'm like, I'm not okay. I called a therapist. I remember the day I texted my friend, she's a therapist, and I said, hey, I don't have a lot of money right now, but I'm like not okay. Do you know of any like organizations or things that can give you like cheaper therapy, because I just need some. And she's like, honey, I got you. And so literally I relied heavily on her. I stopped drinking so much. Like I knew that wasn't serving me. I had to bring that down, eating healthy, get out in the sunshine, move my body, because I was like, I had to. So now how 20 years later I started dealing with trauma is I had to physically and mentally take care of myself or I wasn't going to make it through. I really wasn't. And it was such a low time, and I've never endured that just horrible thing for 2.5 years. So it's, I know who, we're all speaking to. We've all gone through really horrific, tough times. Every single person that's the life experience, right? The human experience. But it's like, get help. No, get those, you can go to someone and say, I'm not okay. You can, take care of yourself and do what you have to do to be okay and to move through that. And you will.
And I think you're setting an example for your two boys, especially, but also to all those entrepreneurs out there. They face that same obstacle, a lawsuit, or any hiccup in their entrepreneurial journey. But you're also showing them you can fight that, but somehow you decided to balance self-care in there along with your ambition.
Yeah, you have to.
How did you do that? How did you come up with that muster to balance the self-care, keep the business going, and stay focused on the forward?
I mean, it wasn't easy. I knew that I had to do it at some point when I was waking up just like so low. I know, the things that you do that make you feel good, right? And the things you do that drain you and make you feel like crap. It's like, no more doing these things that are these negative habits or draining me or making me, draining my energy or making me feel bad. So I just really had to take a hard look and be like, you deserve better. Like, do better. You have to do better. And you have to show your kids that you're going to make it through. And you have all these lies being thrown at you day after day. And it's just ungodly, the things I had to produce and do for this lawsuit. But I knew in my heart it wasn't true. So I was literally fighting for myself. I was fighting for myself at that point.
And that shows another thing about tenacity and resilience and grit. Everything comes out and any kind of keyword up, but that's what you're doing. You're showing that you have it all. Even when you got sucker punched with the lawsuit, you got sucker punched when you were learning Spanish by a professor, but you never quit. A lot of people would have quit 20 years prior when that happened. They would have quit right there, and nothing would have came out of their life. They would have just been done.
Yeah,
you kept it in you and fought forward, and it's kudos to you to where you are today.
Thank you. And I think a lot of people too, at those are such pivotal moments, those times where we're going through adversity, right? You could take this path. You could become an alcoholic. You could, go down this route, all these different things, these negative things you could do to numb the pain, or you get help, you take care of yourself, and you go out and you be a shining light in the world that everyone needs. You know what I'm saying? And not everyone, like we said, needs to write a book about it all or whatever, but like, you get rid of the shame and the guilt and you move on and you be okay and you be happy. That's the point, right? So you could really go either way in those situations. It's like, what are you going to do?
Definitely. It's all up to you at that point, and you chose the right path. The path less chosen by most people. You took the right one, and I'm glad for that, and glad that you're here today to share that with us, and also
thank you.
Have your book out there where people, the real vibes book out there, so people can read that and maybe get pumped up to chase their demons down and fight through things as well.
Yeah.
And you're also a speaker. I mean, you have a lot of things going on. So a speaker, where do you speak locally? Do you do virtually, or do you travel?
So I've done a lot locally in Denver, some for construction companies and different things, some for just women's organizations. I've spoken at a lot of schools as well to students, which is kind of cool. But I'm really excited. In April, I'm going to speak at Amberly Lago. She is a really amazing woman, and she was in a really bad motorcycle accident many years ago. She's had like 40 surgeries. She has what they call, it's like, I don't know, it's like the chronic pain disease. I think they call it the suicide disease. It's like most people that have it commit suicide because it's so painful. And she is like the most positive, freaking amazing woman I've ever met in my life. And she has an event in April in Dallas. So I'm going to be speaking there, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, I mean, I definitely speak nationally, locally, kind of wherever. And I've spoken on smaller scale, but I think now writing this book and kind of really almost realizing I actually have stories to tell and I feel this new calling to share them lately, right? I never did for a lot of time, but now it's kind of something I'm stepping into and feeling called to do. So I'm excited for the next year or two to see where it takes me. I'm open to it, but I just want to inspire other people and, connect with them because everyone has a story to tell, every single person.
They definitely do. And
Mhm.
brought up CPS. We had a young guest, who's I want to say 6th or 7th grade, and she was diagnosed with it. So
Wow.
right when we started doing the YouTube channel and stuff, and I worked with her mom, and I said, let's get her on here. Maybe we'll get someone to help out to maybe
Mhm.
find that care, get her into the right hospital. And she's just a tough young girl to
Oh,
go
they
through
are.
it and doesn't have
Mhm.
anyone else to worry about. So she knows all the bad sides of it, but she also knows there's hope. So it's
Yeah.
great to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we hit speaker, we hit construction, we hit author. Now you have to throw a podcast in there too. So,
Well,
well,
that's literally on my to-do list, in my quote free time. But it is. I actually want to start a podcast this year. I really do.
and what's the subject that going to be? Is it going to be
So
entrepreneurial or just
I'm really trying to pick the name. I don't know if I could take a part of my book or something like either Real Vibes Only, Unapologetic Confessions, but really I just want to have people on telling their stories and like how they've overcome things. So, Rich, you can come on my podcast when I get it up and running. But it's
definitely
just I love talking to people and every conference you go to and let's say there's a whole lineup of speakers, right? All they're telling is things they've gone through and overcome in just completely different ways. That's all they're telling. You know what I mean? And so and you leave and you're like, yes, this is amazing. It's so powerful, right? So I want to give the opportunity for people to share their stories and what they've learned from it, how they've grown, how they became stronger.
definitely in our resident consigliere. My brother jumped in and said overcoming life. Also, that's the name of your show.
Like it. I like that. That's good. I like that.
Named it for
Can
my
write that down.
consigliere helped me out there. It's fun though. Once you get it up and going, I started mine during COVID, of course, and since I
Okay.
had about 8 hours left in the week that I didn't have allotted, so I started this and I started writing a book at the same time. So I've since
Awesome.
published 2 books and have this going. So you met so many people on the show. It's amazing. And
Mhm.
for the show, I've been guesting on a lot of other shows, so I get to
Mhm.
share my side and change side,
Yeah.
which is it's really fun to do that as well.
Yeah, and honestly, every show I'm on, I've been on quite a few lately, I leave and I'm like, "Oh my god, I feel so good. I feel energized." It's like you connect, it's the best feeling. It really is.
Definitely 100%. And I think you'll have a great time doing it once you find the 2 hours a week that you want to jump on that you have
Yeah.
nothing allotted to when the
Yeah.
boys aren't traveling soccer or
At
something or
midnight or
football.
something. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
I go to bed at like 9, so I'm I'm an old lady.
the morning.
Yeah,
You'll find it. You'll figure it out. I'm sure you
I
will.
will.
You'll build a new habit within there to check how to get done. And
Yeah.
you don't have to do 3 shows a week. You can start off with 1 show a week, and they don't have to be live. You can do a
Yep.
recording and then post one a week. Just baby steps until you get the momentum and rock it
Until I
out.
know what I'm doing.
Yes, yes, that helps too. My first was recorded in my sleep. That tells you something.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for a while, but
So if you can give advice to that young entrepreneur or any entrepreneur, I don't even say young. There's so many
Mhm.
entrepreneurs now.
Yeah.
3 bits of advice for them to get going, get out of their own way, and try to be successful. What would that be?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say number 1, you gotta understand it's not gonna be easy. It's like if you're going into this thinking like, "Oh, this is just success is gonna come easy," or whatever, or this, I'm gonna scale this business or whatever. It's really hard. It really is, but it's really worth it. Like I told my husband, I'm ruined forever. I can never work for anyone else. I can never go like to an 8 to 5 job. I just can't. Like I'm just totally screwed. I can't do it. So, now I've built it and I'm, seeing growth and I'm seeing success and I still have a long way to go. So knowing your to-do list is never done. I have like 10 to-do lists over here with like a million different things. It will never stop, but you kind of just have to have that personality that thrives on that, apparently, or I'm just crazy, maybe, I don't know. And then I would say set boundaries. Like I have so many people, like for me in construction, I have bankers and insurance people always reaching out. Hey, can I take you to coffee or your lunch? And just see how I can support you. And while that's sweet, no, I used to say yes to all that in the beginning. Now I know how valuable my time is, and I say no kindly and nicely. But like, I'm not switching insurance and I'm not switching banks or any of this other stuff. Like, it's just a waste of their time and my time. So I nicely say no, and I wish them well. So it's like setting boundaries. If you're not going, like, what's moving your business forward? If whatever this invitation or event was, do that. And if not, then don't go. Go take care of yourself, work out, get some rest, like whatever. You have to find a balance though, and build your life. If I'm successful, it does not mean that I'm, my family hates me. I work 80 hours a week. Like my health is in the toilet. I just hate my life. To me, I don't want it. Then I don't want it. I build my life. I have my life, and then I build work around it. And yes, some days are tough to do that, but like you have to have that goal, and then you will be more cognizant of it, and you'll enjoy it so much more, because I'm not going to be burnt out and miserable. Like to me, that's not even worth it.
That makes you lose the passion that you had for it in the beginning.
It does.
And you'll hate everything about it.
Exactly.
So all that's great advice right there. Chelsea, how does someone get in contact with you if they want to talk to you, like or maybe get you to come speak to their corporation?
Yeah. Probably the best place is just my website. It's chelseahusum.com. So it's ChelseaHusum.com. Like all my links, there's all kinds of stuff on there, and email and ways to get in touch with me. So that's probably the best spot.
And that is scrolling across the screen on the bottom for those on video, and for everyone else, it is in the show notes already. So you can find, I think, all of Chelsea's links, including her LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, I believe, are all on there. So easy click and find and talk. Just don't spam her with a bunch of crap, please.
But also, Chelsea, can I say, if you feel called to reach out, I love to hear stories of people that are going through things, or, what you've gone through and what you've learned from it. I love connecting with people like that. So please feel free to reach out, and I would love to connect.
Awesome. Take that invitation, and you might be one of the first people on the show. So that's awesome. Build your show guest right now.
Yep, I will.
Just build that Rolodex. Chelsea, this has been awesome chatting with you. It's like 30 minutes flew by tonight.
Thank you.
I've had a great time chatting with you, and just send an invite when you want me to come on your show to
will.
Maybe spill my guts to you about what I've been through in life, and I'll bring a bunch of my veteran friends to jump on the show as well. Please
do. That would be amazing. I will be in touch.
Awesome. Everything else, tomorrow night, Tip of the Spear, Veterans Roundtable will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, or 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central. So that's a pretty cool talk with a bunch of veterans talking, and I think we have 2 guests tomorrow night. I would be on my YouTube channel and everyone else's YouTube channels as well. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. And Chelsea, you have a great night in Denver.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.